So a little bit about the company. Let me clarify actually a little bit of where the problem is and also who we are and what we do. So the problem today that we find in the enterprise is that, especially in the mobile space, there's a lot of need for mobile apps, and the options for enterprises are very limited. Either off-the-shelf solutions that are very limited in ability, they don't integrate with anything, there's no database-driven elements to them. There's also the custom-built apps, which a lot of enterprises are trying to do, but a lot of these companies don't have developers, they're not experts, they don't even know how to begin this process, let alone get into the whole app store process, and it's very expensive and lengthy. So the solution that we're proposing is Smart Mobile Apps, which is a enterprise mobile app solution that's built and on our bpmNEXT software. I'll go over that a little bit. Advantages being that you can do it very rapidly, very quickly. It can be very customized. It can be done by the business, no programming at all. Drag and drop, fully integrated with the back end. And I'm going to show you a little bit of that today. Now, about the company, just to clarify what something Bruce said, actually, we don't focus on SMBs. We actually focus on mid-sized companies. We're talking companies from a few hundred to a few thousand employees. We also work with a lot of departments and large organizations. And we've had some enterprise-wide implementations as well. And we have a good number of SMBs as well. Our software is designed to be very rapid to adopt, very easy to learn and implement, especially if you have a very small IT or no IT at all. So there's no programming involved in the process. And what I'm going to show you today is essentially a little bit of how it works. There's a listing of some of our clients there that you see. We have implementations ranging from 25 seats all the way to 30,000 seats with larger enterprises. So it's all depending on some processes that are very simple, form-based processes. There's some, for example, like onboarding the entire, all the employees at Circle K across 20,000 licenses, 2,000 stores nationwide, all the onboarding process for that. So it's quite a bit of scale in terms of the platform capability as well as the functionality of the platform. All of that can be done without any programming. So a little bit of the background of the software itself. So it's a traditional BPM platform. We started the company about 14 years ago. And it was the background concept was not any background in programming. My background is more engineering and CAD and modeling. So we essentially create a solution that's completely drag and drop from beginning to end. And typically all the demonstrations, we're doing demos online from just random processes that the customer gives us, and we build them out from scratch in front of them and launch them. There's nothing else happening behind the scenes, all in front of them. And so all the tools are built in. It's all drag and drop, and you can build all sorts of apps. You can leverage your legacy systems, and then you can deploy them across any actual platform, whether it's cloud-based or devices, mobile devices. So the key behind Intellect Smart Mobile Apps, so extending the platform now to mobility, we actually always had a web-based solution that you can run on your mobile-friendly. You can run it in Safari and Firefox and so on. But our customers are coming to us, they needed something more native, something that could be available offline, that is actually a native app that's faster, can leverage the device more. And so we basically architected this new solution that allows them to build a library of native mobile apps on the bpmNEXT that anybody could do very easily, including the CEO, which I'm going to build one today with you. That could be up and running in about 15, 20 minutes. That essentially could be, it's all native, and it could be fully integrated with the back end. And we expect that these mobile apps will pretty much replace everything in traditional BPM today. So everything from your databases to your records and documents and reporting workflows, everything should ultimately be available in your mobile app. And so it's all, and the benefit of it being sitting on a bpmNEXT is that you leverage all of that already. Just a quick case study. This is one of our clients in Viva, and they're using it. And this is probably a very common use case you've all seen, where you want to capture data on the field. So they're specifically in the whole renewable energy, but they use forest and pellets, wood pellets. Essentially, they send out these foresters who go and survey trees and what raw material they can actually get to create their actual pellets that you see there in the picture. And they need something that's available online and offline at the same time. And so they built these out on our platform, and they rolled them out in a matter of a couple of hours. And they have all their foresters now using these mobile apps. So with that, let me switch over, and I'm going to go ahead and get into the platform real fast. And so our approach to BPM is it's traditional in the sense that we have all the components. We do expect that our users will learn the platform and build their own forms and workflows as a traditional BPM. The element that we've actually eliminated and automated is all the backend. Database creation, the scripting, the complexity of writing, rules and so on. All that we basically converted to a drag and drop WYSIWYG environment. What you see is what you get. So as you drag and drop elements onto the screen, based on what you want the system to look like, it will generate everything behind the scenes for you. So you never have to learn anything about database design or SQL or any stuff or anything about scripting or any language. It's just simply logic and design. So let me go ahead and build a very simple process. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my templates area where I define the processes. And just shrink it a little bit like we did last time. But as he's doing that, let me go ahead and insert a template. And let's go and do an audit process. We need to go on the field and survey, maybe to do an audit of an actual office space. I'm going to maybe specify a few fields where I need to select the office, maybe specify a type of building this is, and maybe take a picture and some notes, and that's pretty much it. So I'm going to go ahead and add a few fields. So I click on Insert Item, and I'm going to add a text field for, let's say, comments. We'll add a drop-down for the office space. And we'll do another one for type. And we'll do like an image. And pretty much I have a very basic form. Now the database has already been created. Let me put a few fields, kind of a couple of options on these fields. I'm going to actually drag and drop a few items here. For the office space, I'll just specify some choices here. And then make that required. So this is essentially the interface that our typical users would be learning. There's really nothing else to learn behind this. And we'll move the comments down here. We'll make the office type just a couple of choices. Let's say residential, commercial. And we'll make the comments like a notes box so they can enter and have a conversation like a blog. And then the photo will just format a little bit on that. And pretty much we're good to go with this form. Now I can always go back and put in a workflow on this, but right now let's skip it a simple form. So now what I need to do is I'm going to go ahead and go into the mobile app section so I can create an actual mobile app using this form so I can start storing and capturing data on the field. So this is the mobile apps section here. And before I actually launch this, let me give you some examples of what it looks like. Then I'll show you a little bit of how we would build one on the fly here. Jonathan, if you can actually switch over. Okay, great. So I'm actually logged into another environment here, and this is actually connected to a mobile app that's our CRM. And just to give you an idea, so this interface pretty much is completely customizable, so it shows me data, I can have tabs. All this is native, so everything you're looking at is a native device. I can actually search our database, all connected right now real time to our database on the back end. And if I want to look at like one of the activities or actions here, you'll be able to see the information on that. Whoops. And the way we set it up is that a company can have multiple of these types of applications. They can build a library of them, all hosted centrally, and then all connected to their back end. So you can see all the fields are pretty much what you'd expect in a native environment. History information, you can select anything, and all that's fully functioning. So what I'm going to do is now switch over to the other environment that I'm connected to right now. So this is showing you my CRM system. But if I also now connect to the demo site that I'm on, then you'll see a different set of apps there that I have already built. So the safety reporting app and the other one that you saw earlier when I flipped to mobile apps. And what I'm going to do now is add one more app to this section here. So let's go ahead now. If you can switch back, Jonathan. So I'm going to go into mobile apps. So this is the ones we just saw. Let's go ahead and turn on edit mobile apps again, or insert mobile app, edit mode. And what it's going to do is going to create a new app. I'm going to call this my audit app. I could change the icon. I could go ahead and rename this and so on. But let's just leave that all default for now. And it gives me some standard options here. There's a sidebar for the menu. There's a tab 1, tab 2, which represent the actual pages. And I still have a toolbox there. And what I'm going to do here is go ahead and, okay, I'm just just realizing something is missing here. Just 1 second. So let's go ahead and call this the audit. Audits will be in this tab. And this one over here is going to have, let's say, reports. And for the sidebar, I'm going to create an actual button here. But let me just check something real quick because I just need to reset something here. This is the little backend. I need to reset the site. Something is not. Okay. Okay. So go back to mobile apps. So back to the other apps. I'm going to go ahead and now insert a table using that form that I just created. So we'll call this the data entry based on this list of the form that I built. So it'll be all audits will be in this table. And we'll default everything. Just make it expanded. And I'm going to put that into the first page here. I'm going to drag that into that first tab. So that will allow me to create that first page, and the list will be inside there. Let's also do under the reports, I'm going to create let's do a bar chart of all the audits and break it down by office. Maybe I want to find out what type of residential versus commercial do we have. So I want to just do a quick report on all the audits based on office type that I have. And I'll put that in the second page. And right now there's no data in the system, so it's going to be blank. But I have the 2 tabs right now. I can add more tabs, more pages. And for the sidebar, I'm going to insert a button that I can then have the user insert records into it. So it'll be a new entry button of the audits. So let's call it new audit. Let's also drag it in here. And now we'll point it into that table that we just created. And so pretty much at this point now, we can go ahead and start using the application and start creating audits on the field. So if you can switch back, Jonathan. So what I'm going to do now is just exit the app and log back in. So pretty much the user, when they refresh the session, there's the new app that shows up there. And I can launch it now. It's all blank, but everything is set up. There's the 2 pages there. I can even update the icons and have icons in there. So let's go ahead and enter a new audit. So select. This is all now native and fully functioning. You can enter notes. I can take a picture as earlier taken. This one I'll take it of myself, actually. Where is it? Oh, it's actually on the back. And pretty much it's going to store the data, and it's going to store it directly on the device and also on the server. And let me add one more. Oops, let me exit here, go back in real fast. So you can see the data is all there, and the report's up to date, and I could see all the information. Let's add one more. And this one will take everybody. And basically, if I go back now to the actual, if you flip back to the actual website, please, you'll see if I refresh the screen that all the data is already there. And pretty much the information is synced up in real time. And by the way, everything I just did right now, I could use as well in the web environment. So I can create a web app and have the same template be used everywhere. This is a very simple template, obviously, only a few fields. Let's say I want to go ahead and add a simple, actually, it's already been 20 minutes. So actually, I'm going to pause at this point because I only have about 10 minutes left for the conversation here. But essentially, the whole idea was to show you how quickly you can build an app, have it be available in a native environment, fully integrated with the back end, also available offline. So if I lose connectivity on my device, it will store the data locally, and then once I connect back, it will sync everything back up again. And it's obviously very simple, but this process that I went through to create the simple app, I mean, it's really the same exact process you go through to build a full HR system for Solo K. It's the same exact level of complexity. Questions?